What is your response to Mr. Trump's assertion that there is a threat of Russia and China occupying Greenland, and that the way to stave that off is for Greenland to be essentially owned by the United States?
There is no serious threat from China or Russia in Greenland. They don't have any activities there. They don't have consulates. They don't have any mining activities. They don't own anything. They're simply not there. And if they were there, the Americans would have all the means to keep them out through an increased presence in Greenland. The thing is, the Americans already have full and complete access to Greenland militarily, as well as in terms of minerals, if they wanted. But they have downscaled their presence by about 99%, from 15,000 at the height of the Cold War to about 150 troops today. So they already have the access that they could want. And therefore, this threats of annexation through military or other means is based on fake story about a China threat that doesn't exist. It's completely illegitimate because the Americans have no justification for doing it. There's no legal claim. There's no historical ownership, no broken treaties, certainly no threat. Greenland and Denmark have been most loyal allies of the United States that you could possibly imagine. And there's also no need for it because the Americans will gain absolutely nothing that they don't already have. They already have the full access to Greenland, and annex it wouldn't give them any benefits at all. So it's a contender for the most illegitimate land claim in modern history. And if it came to military confrontation, it would be the dumbest war in history.
If all of that is true, what do you think that Mr. Trump is up to?
That's what we're trying to find out. And there's a meeting between the foreign ministers next week, and we hope it'll become more concrete, whether the Americans have concrete mining projects in mind that they'd like to do, whether they would like to have a military base more, whether they just want to return to the many, many military bases that they have left. They're welcome, and the door is wide open. So we will do everything we can to meet relevant American concerns and needs. We have never objected to an American presence in Greenland, but ownership is out of the question. The Greenlanders have made it very, very, very clear that they do not want to become Americans, and they are not for sale. So it doesn't matter what price the Americans will put on the table. We just can't agree to that. We can't just hand over 57,000 Danish citizens to the Americans.
So to be clear, there's no price that the Americans could pay that would tempt Greenland to transfer the formal control. Because from what you've just been saying, actually, the Americans owning Greenland would make almost no difference to what goes on there.
It would make absolutely no difference. The Americans wouldn't gain anything that they couldn't get just by calling us.
Why not take their 5.7 billion that I gather is being talked about?
Well, you just don't do that. You just don't sell people and land. I mean, why not sell, I don't know, York or Scotland to the Americans? You just don't do that. They're part of Denmark, and they're part of Denmark because they want to be. They have for a long time had the option of leaving Denmark. They have not wanted to. They want to stay with Denmark, at least for now. And I don't speak for the Greenlanders, so I can't say if they would want to take an economic offer. But nothing indicates that. And they're saying it so clearly, we are not for sale. There was a poll last year said that only 6% of Greenlanders would like to leave Denmark to become part of the United States. So it's simply extremely threatening and unsuitable for the Americans to not accept what they're hearing from both Denmark, who will never sell, and also from the Greenlanders, who say definitely they are not for sale. This is our country. They want to have the freedom. They are going for independence. They are not going for replacing the very, very large self-determination that they have for Denmark and the option for full independence, to trade that to become the property of the United States.
How does it make you feel when you hear the American Deputy National Security Advisor say that nobody's going to fight the United States over the future of Greenland, given You know, you are partners in NATO, your troops have fought in Afghanistan and so on. How do you feel when you hear that coming out of the White House?
It's surreal. It's something we would have never thought we would hear from the Americans, who have been some of our best friends since their independence, and with whom we have fought in so many wars over the past decades for one purpose: to help the Americans. I mean, we don't have any interest in Afghanistan. We didn't go there and lose 43 Danish lives for our sake. We did it to support the Americans because they needed us, and now we're being attacked. It's so strange and so unnecessary. First of all, because nothing will be achieved except for burning down the entire Western alliance. Because I mean, who is going to want to be allies of the Americans if you get attacked when you are an ally? I mean, we've seen the Americans go after hostile nations like Venezuela, and that's to some extent understandable. But going after the most friendly, loyal ally that they've had for decades, I mean, who's safe then? Then no one is going to be safe. And the argument they're using, Denmark can defend Greenland. We can defend Greenland to the extent that it's needed, because there are no large threats, and Greenland itself is not an important military target in any way. But you know, Portugal can't defend Portugal. So are the Americans going to attack any country that can't defend itself? I mean, the reality here is that the main threat.
Can I just briefly put just one quick question to you from the Greenlanders' point of view? Would it be so awful to exchange one set of colonial overlords for another, bigger, richer set of colonial overlords?
Well, you should have them answer that, because of course I'm going to say no to that. But I mean, I also want to argue that we don't run Greenland. They have the option of full independence if they want that. They've had that option for 17 years without using it. They also have the option of gradually taking over more and more of the tasks that Denmark does in Greenland. We do a lot of things in Greenland, everything from air control to prisons to currency, defense, parts of healthcare, education, a lot of other things. But the Greenlanders can take it over gradually if they want. So they have a path to more independence and more self-determination. Okay. And they also have a path to full independence. I don't think they see anything attractive in becoming the property of an American president that just wants to exploit their minerals, really.
Rasmus Jarlov, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.